So after you left Murder Inc., it seems like you affiliated yourself with Game.
Was it Game first?
I believe so, because you were on the... Hold
you're
on a
right.
second.
It was Game. I met Game through... I think I met Game through Mark Pitts. If I recall him... I think Game was in Philly one time, and he told me to go meet Game somewhere. And I went and met with Game, and we were just talking or whatever. And, you know, he was cool. And the next thing I know, he was recording in New York, and I started going there. And I wasn't really like recording at first. I just was kind of hanging out, you know, filling everybody out. And then I remember they had a beat up one day, and I just wrote this crazy record, and Game was kind of blown away, like, yo, like, because at that point, most of the guys that I would meet in the music industry never thought I wrote my rhymes. They always thought it was Cam. Even when I met Irv, he's like, Cam writes your rhyme. Like, nobody writes my rhymes. I write my own rhymes. So until I'm actually in the studio with them and they see that I do it, that's when they're finally like, oh shit, like she could really write. So I think when I did that, that's when Game was like really impressed. And at one point I was going to sign to Black Wall Street, but it like the deal that came up, it just wasn't right. And Game had another guy who had a studio in Atlantic City, which was obviously closer to Philly, that he was working with. And I don't remember the circumstances as to why we went to Miami to do something, but I wound up meeting Scott Storch. And I was there with the Game's, you know, his representative, this guy. I think his name is Johnny.
Johnny Hooks. I know
Is that
exactly
his name?
what you're talking
Johnny
about.
Hooks?
This guy is this guy's a crook. He ended up stealing money from me, actually.
Oh my God, he was crazy.
Yes. Yeah, fuck Johnny Hooks.
Oh shit. You know? Yeah, Johnny Hooks from AC.
I went in on a real estate deal with him, and he just stole the money. I guess he ended up getting busted by the feds himself at one point, and then like he ended up basically stealing everybody's money and so forth. Yeah, this dude's a piece of shit.
Are you serious? Oh shit.
Yeah, well, because I was actually cool. I think you're talking about New Jersey Devil. He had the studio in Atlantic City, and me and Jersey Devil was actually really cool. I used to go out there and hang out with him.
Hell. Yeah,
he introduced me. He introduced me to Johnny Hooks, and then I ended up getting ripped off by Johnny Hooks. Fuck him.
Damn. Well, maybe that worked out for the best then, because while I was there, I don't remember. It wasn't a record for me. It was a record for somebody else. And I don't know I didn't know Scott at the time. I was a huge fan of his music, but I didn't know him. And I think he asked me to write a record for somebody that he was working with or something. And one thing about me is I write really fast. So he gave me the beat. I wrote the record really fast or whatever. And he was like blown away. And I remember him pulling me outside and was like, who's that guy you're with? Talking about Johnny Hooks. And so I explained the whole situation or whatever. And he's like, are you signed to him? Or are you signed with Game or whatever? And I'm like, no, but we're working on some stuff or whatever. And the next thing I know, Scott walks away. He comes back 5-10 minutes later. He hands me a check for a really, really nice amount of money that I really could have used around that time. And I'm looking at this check and I'm like, what is this? And he was like, I need you to work with me. He was like, whatever this dude want, like, if I need to write him a check, I'll write him a check and he could leave. I need you to stay. And I'm like, this is fucking nuts. Like, I'm not knowing if he's just, trying to do some baller shit. Like, I'm not really knowing what's going on, but he was dead serious. And that's basically how the Game situation ended. And I started working with Scott Storch.
Yeah, I interviewed Scott Storch in Miami around that time at that mansion on Star Island.
Right.
And he had the Bugatti in front, the Ferrari, the Rolls Royce. He was spending money like on an insane level. That he had so much money coming in, and he was just blowing it so fast. And he ended up blowing all his money at one point. He went bankrupt.
That's how crazy it was. People were asking me if he dealt drugs. I'm like, no, I don't think so. But I mean, that was also a crazy situation. So
yeah. Well, he was doing a lot of drugs. He wasn't selling them. He was actually doing a lot of drugs during that time. And we talked about that. He had a cocaine habit. He had an insane weed habit. I mean, it was crazy. There was girls all around. I think Paris Hilton was around. Kim Kardashian was around. It was
that was a wild time. But I mean,
a wild time.
Music wise, it was a good time. But just atmosphere wise, it was a lot.